Hi guys, welcome back to the Butterfly Effect podcast. We are here doing the analysis for the new Life is Strange game, Double Exposure. Now, we have done the original Life is Strange. I've played Before the Storm, and we will be doing an analysis for that, but you know what it is. I've done the statement on the channel, life gets in the way, that will be coming. But for now, Double Exposure is what's fresh, and we are playing it. Jack, I believe you finished the game, right?
I have finished it, yes. So I'll, refrain from, spoilers and whatnot for your good self. But yeah, I know all there is to know, folks, basically.
And as for myself, I've played the first 2 episodes as the recording of this video, so that I still don't actually know what happens at the end of the game. I'm currently streaming it. But yeah, before we get into the analysis, Jack, I just want to say I carried this sentiment into this game, that I kind of disapproved that this game was being made. It struck me like a cash grab for 2 reasons. One was just hopping on that nostalgia, getting Max back in a game, getting money. I felt Life is Strange 1 ended really beautifully.
It did feel like a bit of a cash grab because they've clearly deviated previously. Like they tried the whole thing with like True Colours and stuff. I mean, apparently that is a good game. I've not yet played it, but I've still got to formulate my own opinion. But it's almost as if they had a bad game with The Expanse. They're now sort of like backfooting. They're going, okay, what's going to get people in? It's going to be Max. We're regurgitating something that happened, pushing a decade ago. And then as far as like Lost Records goes, I think that, well, I don't know, the game's the game, if you pardon the pun. But I was glad that Don't Nod sort of took the stance of, we're going to move our game. We want it to have the air to breathe, and also paying homage to like a game that they did previously in Life is Strange. They wanted both games to get the right amount of the spotlight. So no, I wasn't absolutely going in with a negative mindset into this game, but I would say that should it have been a project? Possibly not. Is it a cash grab? Likely yes.
Nah, very well, mate. I mean, we'll get into the game, and before we get into the choices, which is where we start, usually I just want to talk about the menu, mate. Now, I'm a massive fan of these menus, right? Life is Strange 1, we had the beautiful shot of Arcadia Bay where you've got the acoustic song Golden Hour. Before the Storm does that really lovely thing of you've got the shot of the tree, and then with each episode you'll see how disintegrated and burnt down the forest gets, while you've got Daughter the Right Way Around playing. I love these menus and I was really looking forward to it. And the first time, and I don't think this is just me because I adjusted my audio settings, but we have this lovely shot of Caulfield University. They've gone for the snow theme. It's different. You can kind of really hone it in. The snowy one is Double Exposure, so I quite like that they've given it a snowy setting. But the menu has no music, mate. Now, for me, Life is Strange needs some beautiful acoustic music in the background. Did you feel like they missed a trick there? Because I certainly feel like they did.
Didn't it have music? Maybe I'm missing something, but I thought that that's what because we'll get on to the whole Bond thing, right? I thought that it was there.
For me, it did in the pause menu, and I feel like it did when I finished the episode. But when I started, it was blank.
I genuinely can't remember. I thought it was there, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was just when I hit the pause and when you finish an episode or something. But if so, then that sucks ass, But I feel like the actual theme music itself, it's so far the weakest that I've heard. Me, I'm a big Bond fan and whatnot, but it was too close. It was too close to that theme, to the point where I was it pulled me out of it. It didn't feel like a Life is Strange game at all. When you talk about the music in game, you get onto more familiar territory. But yeah, the menu music, I didn't like it, mate. So how about yourself?
Yeah, no, I do agree. It's one thing because you played the game before me, you asked me to cast my eyes on it. So at the start, I was well, I've got a blank menu. But then when I hit pause, you do hear that theme. And I agree, it is very Bond-esque. And yeah, I just can't help but because it's just the main bass line, but I can't help but chime in with down, 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 down. And I'm just I shouldn't be doing this on the Life is Strange game. But that's where we are. But guys, let us know in the comments what you thought of Life is Strange Double Exposure's music. because so far Jack and I's sentiment on that is a little taken away from it because it feels like a Bond game to us. But nonetheless, mate, we will get into these choices. Now, the first thing it kicks us off with after like the little prologue-y thing we have is it helps us shape the narrative of where we left Life is Strange 1, where you're talking to Safi and she asks you about the girl with blue hair. Now, did you say that Chloe lived or died in your playthrough?
Alright, so in my playthrough, I picked that Chloe died, mostly because I just wanted to honour my blind playthrough, mate. I didn't want to go against that, and I was curious to see, like, because we've done a video already on it, like, should Chloe be in this game, will she? I was like, you know what, it might be more interesting if you pick that she's died, plus I'd already done that in my blind playthrough, so it was a pretty easy choice for me. But looking on Xbox, unless this is, you know, global statistics across all platforms, I was in the minority here because it said that 44% people picked it, so 56 picked that Chloe lived, mate. But what did you do?
Yeah, you know what? It's actually a good question. Yeah, I'm the same. I was in 44% with Chloe died. So yeah, like, I mean, as a lot of people know, my blind playthrough, I did actually save Chloe when I was a lot younger, but like knowing both endings. Yeah, however, for me, I did switch and I picked the Save Arcadia Bay ending. I've played the game multiple times and that is the ending I always pick, mainly because I believe that is, well, the ending they put the most effort into. It is the ending that makes sense. And I don't know, it's just the ending of the game that I wanted to bring forward into this playthrough, so I did pick that one. So swiftly, you know, we're with Safi and then she tries to set us up with this barmaid, and I'm not going to lie, it felt very forced. I was like, well, I don't know this character, and one of the first quests I'm getting is trying to flirt and learn about this barmaid. So I felt a little bit like, well, I don't know the kind of person she is. So it goes friend thing or date thing. Now, I did go date thing just because I felt like that's where the game were gearing us, and because I am playing on a stream where there is a poll, and that is what the fans wanted. So I myself went date thing, which was the majority. But I think this is where our first choice changes, Jack, right?
Yeah, it is indeed. See, I picked a friend thing, and it was literally the logic that you spelled out. Like, literally, we've just locked eyes on this girl, we've just met her. Does she seem cool and quirky and was clearly like coming on to us a little bit? Sure. But again, like, we've only just been reintroduced to Max. You want to almost like relearn her character, see where she's at in life. And on top of that, you've then got this complete nobody, or like this complete stranger. So for me, it was a simple choice. I didn't want to shoehorn a relationship early doors in this game. So yeah, I picked a friend thing.
For the next choice, we are cutting ahead a lot, but I am just going to do it in the order the final screen gives you the choices. But it says, did you finish Loretta's interview or did you call her bluff? What did you pick, Jack?
I called her bluff. I have gone back since just to see what happened with this one and like answered questions. But I did originally call her bluff, mostly because just to, you know, not lose face. And I was like, you know what, okay, you know, you go ahead, you go and talk to Gwen about it, because I'm not going to sell my friend down the river, especially a friend that, you know, as we know, probably died, you know, at this point. So, yeah, I called her bluff, mate. I didn't want to stoop to her level. What about yourself?
Yeah, exact same, to be honest, mate. The first, I was like, yeah, I can happily do an interview, and then she instantly asks a really harsh-hitting question, which almost besmirches the dead girl. So I was like, well, I'm not doing this. Bye. And then instantly gets us in trouble with Gwen. And I was wondering if I made a mistake, but you know what? It's a choice-based game. I feel like, you know, you can't please everyone. So I was like, I was pretty happy I made that choice, and we'll see later how it, you know, comes. And I will speak more about Loretta when we get to the character section of this analysis. But Jack, the next few choices, mate, they're quite small time, so we're just going to whiz through them. Abandoned spaces. Did you like empty spaces for potential or the presumed uselessness?
It was for the potential.
Same here. Did you find the bowling alley plushie?
I did, of course I did. You know me. I'm wandering around looking for absolutely everything in all the spaces of the game.
Yeah, you know what? I did as well. You and Chloe were just friends or high school sweethearts?
I said that we were just friends. Again, I wanted to honour my blind playthrough. And for me, I don't know what it is about Max. I will say this, it doesn't really ruin too much for you, mate. But we do see a bit more of her sort of romantic, flirtatious side in this game that you don't necessarily get in Life is Strange 1. But I don't know, like, and it's because of that whole vibe in Life is Strange 1 where I was like, I don't think they are, I just think that they are best friends. So to call them high school sweethearts went a bit too far for me. So yeah, that was my reasoning for that. 26% as well. So again, minority.
Yeah, I was in the majority. I do actually ship Chloe more with Rachel in a weird way, but you know what? Like, Jack, you know my type. I'm kissing the girl with tats and blue hair. I'm picking that one. Pickup line. Whose pickup line did you use?
I did not know that you'd use pickup lines from like other people. It completely bypassed. I must have done things in like a different order because I went and saw the pickup lines on the board. But I don't think I then just went and spoke to Amanda, so I hadn't actually collected like everybody else's pickup lines to even bring to her. So I used my own and failed.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I used Safi's and it did succeed. Like there was no way I was using Reggie's. That was the sleaziest one on the planet. But yeah, I used Safi's just because it was like, I don't like pickup lines in any measure, but I was like, that is the least cringe. And luckily it went well. And apparently I'm on the board now, so bang on. Art pranks, lad. Did you flip all the paintings?
I did, and this screamed achievement to me. You know me, I'm an achievement hunter. Like, as soon as I saw this as a thing, because I'm pretty sure I spoke to Amanda and she mentioned it. So like, immediately there was like a little ding in my head and I was thinking, right, this is properly an achievement. So from there on in, I was exclusively walking round the Snapping Turtle, go and flip whatever paintings I see and hopefully get an achievement. And I proved to be right, mate.
Nah, sweet. Same here, to be honest. I actually jumped the gun with it really early because I could tell you could flip them, but you could only do that later on. So sorry to any viewers that saw me try and flip paintings for a really long time before I had the prompt, because I was just there in front of examining the paintings like, why isn't it flipping? But eventually I got there and did all of them. Mug of choice. Did you go for toilet, nerdy and dirty, or actually vodka?
It's got to be nerdy and dirty, isn't it?
It's got to be. It's the one I would have picked as well. And yeah, we were in the majority with that one, apparently.
What are the numbers? Because I actually didn't take a screen grab of that particular slide, because I expect that to be the majority, but I didn't know by how much.
Yeah, 52% for that, 25 for toilet, 23 for actually vodka.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Bottle cap game, mate. Did you win it? I'm not going to do the rooftop stuff.
Oh, yeah, I did. Though I've got to admit, I mean, I probably would have done this anyway, but I swear that wasn't this bit of the game released to us as like a little, teaser for the game, and wasn't in that version they also put it in the Sour Cats box thing, and it worked. So I'm glad I did it. You get an achievement for it as well, didn't you? I didn't realise you could actually screw that one up, because I think you can hide it in amongst the snowballs as well. I don't know where else, maybe like the ashtray, but yeah, I got it in the sweet box.
Yeah, same here. I wonder like what locations fail, so I'm gonna have to go back for that one, but I did the sweet. We're going to the photo wall section. Apparently you can like get Arcadia Bay pictures and put them on your wall. I completely missed this. Did you catch this, mate?
I did, and then I went and put them on the wall because I remember when I was walking about upstairs, I could see like obvious gaps, and I was like, oh, okay, so ultimately we've got to put some Polaroids there, which obviously you can collect in this game, can't you? I'm sure we will get to them at some point. But when I saw the Arcadia Bay photos, I was like, oh, they probably have to go up on your wall. So I went up, and sure enough, you could put them on. So yeah, I did that as well.
Yeah, and it's the same goes, mate, for Moses' hot chocolate. I didn't bring Moses' hot chocolate on time. What a fucking like adult needs to sit down and need their hot chocolate bought for them? And I'm just like, mate, if you're sat down for ages, just get your fucking drink yourself, mate. So yeah, I didn't bring him his hot chocolate, but apparently I'm in the majority with that as well. So
no, I didn't even realise that you could give him a hot chocolate, so you got nothing from me.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, you know what, Moses, you're an adult. You should have got it yourself, mate. Safi's cause of death. Did you say that there's no way Yasmin could have taken her own life, or that it was a possibility?
I said that there was no way, and I was just like, I've been on it. I've got to admit, I didn't really have suspects throughout this game, but if a suspect was going to be one of them, it was going to be Yasmin, because I thought they'd go for the shock factor that the mum did it. But given the way, and I'm sure we'll come to it, given the way things sort of panned out and the location of where it went down, I felt like something else was a little bit of a miss. But so in the end, I was actually truthful with Yasmin. I was like, oh no, because I knew about the book deal and all that sort of thing. She wouldn't top herself, so yeah.
Yeah, same here, and also because of the fact that we got the secret because we won the bottle cap thing. We knew that she had this book deal, and I'm like, nah, she was excited about the future. No way is she killing herself. So yeah, I think us and the majority successfully clocked that on. Maybe. You could choose when you're speaking to Yasmin, you can choose the Safi memorial photo. Did you go pensive, playful, or passionate?
So I'm pretty sure I picked the photo where, like, I'm guessing it's playful, where she's like winking to the camera, like holding something up or something's going on, because one of them was just her reading a book on like some, seat, right, or like by some statue. Can't remember what the other one was, but I think I picked the one where she looked like she was, happy and being cheeky and stuff.
Oh, okay. I went for the last one. First one, you could barely see her face. Second one, she had alcohol. I thought maybe inappropriate, so I went with the third one. But you know what? I actually appreciate your pick there. Did you speak at the memorial? Did you decline, or did you not engage at all?
No, I did intervene. I intervened. I was like, no, this guy's making it all about himself. I need to bring him down a peg or two. So yeah, I just went in there. Moses wandered off, and told him what for, and then he sort of stepped to the side, and I did my bit, and then that was that. What about yourself?
I didn't engage. I thought, well, a lot of people are gathered round. If they want to grieve in that way, they can. I was like, but I'm not going to get involved, so I just walked away. And it does actually impact a choice in the second episode, so I'll get back to that one. But yeah, me and Moses just blanked and walked past. Last choice we're getting, mate, before we kind of like dissect the episode a little further. We get this Abraxas puzzle box. Now, we like a puzzles, Jack. Did you manage to solve the first layer?
I did indeed. And I won't reveal any more about the next layers, because that'll be episode 2.
I did, but like I feel like I didn't do a whole lot. Like Max pretty much solved it for me, so I was like, I don't think I would have got it, but I was like, yeah, cheers for that one, Max. Yeah, you got a lighter. Nice, well done. Cheers for that. But yeah, so like, we bagged it. Fair play. Quite a nice little addition to this game, actually. Something that we probably lacked thereof. Before we get into everything, lads, something I kind of neglected to mention is we have this outfit change thing at the start. Were you a fan of that?
I didn't mind it. I thought it was, a nice little thing. I mean, for me, clearly, as I said at the top, I didn't buy the Ultimate Edition. So what was there, like 10 outfits, 8 outfits? So I was missing the vast majority of them. I thought that the outfits that they provided were pretty cool enough. I'm pretty sure I went with the green coat to start with. Out of all the coats, I actually liked the green coat the best. I think it worked. And then I think indoors, I picked the yellow one where it was like stripy. She had like a stripy jumper on. I think they were my choices for Ep 1.
Yeah, I think I went red indoors and then the green coat, but later on I did switch to the mustard coat. I quite like the mustard coat, to be honest. I'm quite a fan of mustard outfits, so yeah, those are my picks. Before I kind of get anywhere else, mate, we've got a few like scenes and stuff, from like the bowling alley, like exploring the campus. Is there just anywhere you want to start, mate?
Let's start from the top, shall we? Let's start with bowling alley.
Yeah, quite a nice little section actually, and we've got this new sort of feature where like we can take photos, and like obviously in the first game you could find something to take a photo of, but Max goes and does it herself. I quite like the element of you taking the photo yourself, because then it stays in your journal with you. Were you a fan of like taking your own photos, zooming out, using the double exposure filter?
Yeah, I liked it. Again, it's just a nice little gameplay thing, isn't it? And I think the nice little addition as well is that you could then post it onto social media, and then you can almost like follow it, so like people would then comment on it and stuff like that. And again, it's building Max's character back in. We know she's into photography and stuff, so but it's also been modernized as well in comparison to like say the first game. So yeah, I was a fan of it.
Yeah, I weirdly got into it. I'm not really a photographer in real life, but I did quite get into it, where I was trying to get like the best possible shot. So yeah, massive fan. Obviously, we get introduced to our first character, who will end up being the big victim of the game. But What did you make of Safi, mate?
Yeah, I like Safi. It's weird because like I see. No, I don't see similarities with Chloe, but like sometimes I do almost like look at Safi and Max and feel like, how are you both friends? Like one of them seems a lot more out there than the other one, but I feel like that opinion changed as the game wore on. But yeah, she seemed, quite fun, quite quirky. Like they clearly had like a good enough rapport at the start of the game. I wasn't sat there thinking this is the person that's going to replace Chloe, because I feel like that would be a tall order, especially with like her getting bumped off and stuff. But yeah, generally I think she was a good character in the early stages, mate. How about yourself?
Yeah, I do as well, actually, because like I feel like with Chloe, the only thing that really holds them together to an extent is the history they have. But I do feel like Safi is like from Max's world, right? She's a poet, Max is a photographer. They're both sort of like, at this like campus body together. So I actually really enjoyed their dynamics. So yeah, like I really enjoyed their interactions. But yeah, the bowling alley scene was pretty sort of fun, just to go around, do like the scaling puzzles and stuff. One thing I will say about this episode in general is like, I did find it quite a trudge, a little lackluster, very dialogue heavy, mainly for the reason that we don't discover our power till the very end, right? So, I mean, spoiler alert, I much preferred episode 2. I actually really liked episode 2. Don't know how I'm going to find 3, 4, and 5 yet, but I did find it quite long-winded just going around meeting the characters. It felt like an absolute pilot where it was just 3 hours of just, getting to know people and learn their names and stuff. So yeah, like, I felt, a lot of parts of this episode were fairly lackluster. Don't know if you share that sentiment, mate.
I don't think I come down as harsh, because I feel like, for me, this is going to be a big theme of like my outlook on this game as a whole, really. But I didn't, because I'm not like the biggest Life is Strange fan. I could almost come into this with quite like neutral expectations. Like, I had my opinions, yes, of what it could be and should it actually be a game and such. But like, especially going into episode 1, it's like any story, you're just laying the foundations, aren't you? You're sort of introducing the plot somewhat, you're introducing the characters, certain, direction of where things could potentially go. So I wasn't expecting to be hit right off the bat with everything, and you've got to be introduced to all the locations as well. So I didn't necessarily mind it, but come the end of this game, yes, I do have some opinions, but I'll withhold them for now.
For sure. I mean, one thing I want to say, and we'll just speak about characters in general here, mate. We come down quite harshly on Life is Strange 2, and I feel one of the main reasons for me is the fact that you really need to like the two main characters, because it's a giant road trip and we don't really get many side characters, or they're not in the game long enough to really get invested in them. One factor I really like Life is Strange 1 for is that you have all these various faces that keep cropping up around the campus, whether it's Diamond, Vin, Loretta, whoever it may be. This game, it felt like Life is Strange 1 again, where you get to check in with the jocks, like, the photography people, the artsy, the science students, the teachers. This felt very similar, and I just felt that Life is Strange 1 charm again, and it just felt nice to kind of really like get invested in these side characters. And because this game is going for this whole like murder mystery angle, you're meeting people, getting to know them, but there's also this element of, are you a suspect? And I don't know about you, mate, but I actually really enjoyed that.
I think the deliberate parallels with Life is Strange 1, I've just said it there, it's very much deliberate, because, you're harking back to Max as a lead character. Instead of a college, you're at a university. There's lots of things you can throw back and forth. Even Safi, Chloe, a best friend dying. There's lots of things going on there. And yeah, as a murder mystery, like I said, I'm gonna jump a little bit to obviously the scene. Like, so where like the murder mystery thing perhaps didn't resonate with me as much as I hoped it would, was that you're playing as Max, right? And you're walking up, you hear the gunshot. But then you can see Safi on the phone still. So I'm like, wait, what's going on here? And then you wander around the corner and then you see her like slumped on the bench, clearly shot. And I'm just sat there like, unless someone's got a sniper, it just didn't feel like an environment where someone could kill her and then get away, because it didn't look like... You was on an overlook, wouldn't you? You was pretty high up. So I was like, if someone shot her, it either has to be from a considerable distance or they're like hiding in the bushes or something like that. So like from the get-go, the murder mystery element of it didn't quite add up. And that's why I mentioned earlier, like, there's not like suspects that I'm looking at thinking, okay, my actual theory was that the bullet come from the other timeline and hit her like by accident or something like that. But you know, as like an attempt to world build, to introduce, to hark back to Life is Strange 1, yeah, it did a decent job. Like, there, you know, no complaints in that department.
I get, like, the game has to do sort of like, you know, it has to bring out teasers to keep fans invested, and it acts like a bit of a trailer. We got the gameplay trailer, but when you look at the whole thing, it does make the scene a trudge that you have to play it out. So like the whole section with the astrology bit and seeing Safi, it did feel a bit like, okay, let's get this over with. I know exactly what happens. But, you know, it was nice to see the parallels with the nosebleeds are coming, so you kind of know what's, you know, going. But because, like, I knew what the power was going to be and stuff, it did feel like a bit of a trudge. Any comments on the astrology scene, as well as, like, the murder, mate, or shall we skip on?
No, let's move on.
No, okay. Well, later on we go to the Turtle Bar. We've kind of spoke about Amanda enough in the choice section, so hark back to that if you missed it. But, I mean, there are just a few characters that we meet around. Diamond and Reggie, like, we don't learn too much about them. We'll, you know, probably learn more about their characters in the second episode a bit more. But yeah, you know, just again, two nice students, you know, and another thing, like, you see them regularly post on social media. While in the first game we would have, like, the diary entries with all, like, the hand sketches and stuff, which I really enjoyed. They've taken a more kind of digital sort of, you know, 2K20 approach, I guess, where a lot of it is done on social media, and it's almost like their Instagram. Did you quite like the whole thing of when you post a photo, it goes on social media, and you can kind of read statements and kind of posts from the teachers and the students alike? Was that something you welcomed?
I had a feeling you was going to ask this. In terms of posting the photo and popping it up, yes. Do I like it as a thing? Yes. It's, you know, just... But, you know me, like, there was just a lot there. There was lots of different names down the side. Like, the ones that I looked at were the text messages. And I really would, you know, like, for this episode 1, I really wanted to not fall into old habits. I wanted to sort of really try and immerse myself. So I was reading the text from Joyce. I was reading from, you know, from like Max's mum and dad. I was like going right the way to the top and going through them. But after a while, I did start to feel like, and you know what, actually, going back to the social media, you see the little, like, notification lights, or, like, you see, like, dots next to their name as if to suggest that they've put a post up. And there is that part of me, I don't know if you're the same, mate, but whether it's like on Facebook or whatever, if you see a notification, you've just sort of got to get rid of it. So, like, there was a bit of me that's like, I've got to get rid of these notifications, but I wasn't actually properly, after a little while at least, I wasn't properly reading them. So as the game goes on, I did start to fall away from looking at the social media side of things. But I will say this, there are some pretty neat things that they do with it that I'll bring up in like future episodes and that.
Okay, fair play, yeah, because I'm not someone who really scrolls much and looks at what other people are doing on social media anyway. Like, I use Messenger but not Facebook, for example, so like, yeah, I found it a bit of a trudge. And I think also the fact that because I am streaming the game, I was conscious about time, and I didn't want my stream just to be me reading a bunch of posts. So like, yeah, like I kind of deliberately skirted over a lot of it, especially like, we've made a previous video about it and it kind of falls in the same realm. If, you know, like interactable objects, mate, you know, when you go around and you just look at a signpost or a plaque on the board about the uni, whether that should hold relevance to the story. And I did bring you up in my stream because I was like, Jack does have fairly strong feelings about this, and I was wondering, I wonder if Jack's holding up okay in this episode, because there is a lot of this.
Yeah, and that is, honestly, my opinion's not changed. But like I said, I really did try it. I was like, no, go on, read the social medias. Because again, it's a murder mystery. There could be a blatant clue right there. And then you've got to look at the comments, and then you know, there's another post to look at. In the end, it did just get a little bit too much. And then on top of that, you've got the notes, the text messages. you know, like the journal bit. And I was like keeping up the journal. That was interesting. It felt more mature, didn't it, than like Life is Strange 1, which makes sense because she's like you know, older at this point. But yeah, the social media, it did fall away.
For sure. I mean, afterwards, like the turtle bar, we get our first big exploration section where we can freely walk around the whole campus. In doing so, we meet two new characters, Vin, who's looking for this parcel, and Gwen, one of the teachers, who's trying to get a specific book. What did you make of the characters, and did you succeed in getting them their items?
Generally, yes, I did succeed in getting their items. I had a bit of a scare with the package for Vin because I sorted Gwen out first. Even though the objective for Vin came up first, I was like, right, I'll go, because I thought that actually getting the package would then progress the game. So I went and did the Gwen thing first. In terms of a character, yeah, you know, I think actually the characters in this game are pretty solid. I'm not going to say that they're absolutely incredible, like, you know, that they've got depth, and, you know, I'm not going to say that that they're as good as or if better than Life is Strange 1 characters. But yeah, I think across the board pretty good. And then when it came to the Vin's package thing, I went in there and then it took me into Yasmin's office. I was like, no, I wanted to, because again, I had my achievement brain on. I was like, oh, this is probably an achievement. But then thankfully when you come out the office, I could then give it to him. So yeah, I passed them objectives as well.
Oh yeah, good stuff, man. Yeah, Gwen, I agree. It's like cool to have like a trans character in there. Quite an edgy person, which was like all the more upsetting when I got in shit with her later on. But otherwise, like, yeah, like very solid. Felt a bit weird though that you used a spoon to open it. I thought we were gonna like pick a lock or something, but yeah, okay, apparently a spoon's gonna do that. As for Vin, mate, instantly hated the character, and I think a big reason why I'm like, yeah, you're the head of this Abraxas like thing. You do a lot of pranks on people, you know. And I hate that whole kind of cult and like cliquey like club mentality, you know, where it seems like there's a lot of hazing culture that goes on. So I was like, instantly, I hate you. But you know, like when we played Twin Mirror, I just sniped with a certain character who I thought the suspect was, and I got it right. I just decided to snipe for Vin straight away. Reason being, I was like, what motive would there be for killing Safi? And I thought maybe someone wants to get to the big headmaster because the headmaster's daughter's been killed out of all the people. So I thought, okay, like maybe this, you know, I learned that Vin didn't like Safi, and then Vin, you know, like being the assistant of Yaz, maybe there's some bad blood there or something. So instantly I was on this guy's case. But yeah, like we'll later see if I'm right or wrong, because I actually still don't know. But early snipe, I was saying in my stream, was for this Vin character.
I don't blame you either, because you think about Life is Strange 1, it's like Jefferson, right? It's a male, you know. You then look at Twin Mirror again, like it's a male. So like, the male characters do come under fire. That's why I mentioned, I mean, I didn't necessarily have suspects, but like I did wonder if I was going to flip the script and actually have it be a woman in this one and potentially the mother. But like I said, I wasn't like fully backing that 100% because I felt something more sus was going on.
Yeah, I mean, we skip ahead to, you know, Yasmin herself, and to be honest, there isn't too much to say other than the photo around. One thing I will say, though, it is obviously pretty upsetting to see, you know, someone have to lose their daughter and go through the motions. I was wondering if we were going to come under fire because you and Moses are probably prime suspects, being that you were at the location with. But it was a nice chat. I don't think you really see her a whole lot in episode 2, like other than the start a little bit. So, like, you know, I hope to see more of Yasmin because I still really don't know what her character takes. We then later go to Loretta, mate. Now, we'll speak more about her in episode 2 because a choice comes up with her. But what did you make of, like, this character? To me, she struck me as the early, like, Victoria Chase of the game. You know, the person who butts heads with Max instantly. But I already said, I think that's already a ploy. I think this character's going to become good. I feel like they're all instantly giving us like a petty, like, you know, person to go against you. But I feel like this character will become good. So although she instantly like kind of shot us in the foot a little bit with the whole Gwen choice, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to hate this girl.
Yeah. Well, I won't, you know, I'll refrain from trying to, you know, give away what potentially goes on with Loretta. But yeah, like first impressions, took the word straight out of my mouth. they're setting up the Victoria Chase thing again, aren't they? He doesn't do podcast hosts any good, Loretta. So you're not going to be coming on anytime soon. But yeah, I didn't like the girl, and it really was defined in that choice of just how quickly she turned almost journalistic on you. She sort of took you in. Oh, look, we're both Snoops, we're both the same, and then she quickly goes, right, how is Safi, using her resources or something with Yasmin and this, that, and the other. And I thought, oh, okay, I know what you're in this for. Hence why I called her bluff. But yeah, well, as far as where a character goes on, I'll keep my mouth shut, lad.
Very well. I mean, otherwise, there's the Lucas Memorial, which I kind of already spoke about. I guess one character I've really skirted over, which we'll briefly talk about, is Moses. What did you think?
Yeah, a friendly enough chap. He feels like, that sort of guy that, he's into his astrology. He's got his own passions. Like, he feels like a quieter character that probably fits in with the likes of Max. Less so Safi. So I think naturally where they take Moses and Max to sort of team up, in certain aspects, that feels a lot of sense to me. Generally a likeable guy. Yeah, no problem with Moses.
Yeah, and I quite like the dynamic as well, which I feel like maybe like Safi was the anchor, so you're grieving together, but like that's almost like your reason for, I wouldn't say like being friends and talking, but like it is like an instant bond where you're sharing a trauma, and you're like both suspects together. So yeah, like really cool to see Moses. He seems like a gentle soul, so like I can't wait to see what comes out of him. The last thing to really touch about, really, mate, is this power discovery that we get at the end. Maybe it's an effective twist or like reveal, if you will, if you didn't look at any trailers, but because like I did, for purposes of the channel and, wanting to know whether I should purchase the game or not, the whole thing is pretty much revealed in what your powers are. So like I didn't feel any kind of payoff from this episode, but I feel like maybe that's a me problem because the ending is literally, oh, Safi's alive in this other timeline, which we can now visit. So yeah, like it kind of just ended there, and I was a bit like, right, well, there we go then. How about you?
Yeah, to be honest, this comes back to the point I said earlier on with like episode 1 is like the pilot. It's just setting things up. It didn't surprise me. I mean, looking back, we've got 3 main choices in this episode. So maybe they could have tacked a 4th on at the end there just to make it a little bit more interesting. But yeah, so I wasn't too miffed basically in the way it does, thinking, yeah, okay, like we've done the location, we've got the characters set up, we've got the plot ready to kick off. Let's get into episode 2.
Very well, lad. Before I wrap things up, do you have any additional comments?
Yeah, I've got to say the visuals in this game, very impressive indeed. Not just the university, actually everywhere you go. The snapping turtle, it's got vibes to it. I really like it, the way it's set out, just the general atmosphere of the place, which again I will comment on again, like probably in the next episode when you're talking about like both versions of that place. The university is absolutely gorgeous. Max's house is fucking great. Like, Jesus Christ, if that's uni halls in Canada, that's an absolute world away from what we experience, wasn't it, lad?
Yeah.
Absolute world away. Yeah, I generally, I finished the episode and I was like, and again, I think it's where I come back to this whole expectations thing. I was like, yeah, okay, that was serviceable. That, that did good enough in my book. I'm ready to go into the next one. But the visuals, yeah, more so than the audio. I think the audio wasn't, like, music-wise as strong as previous games, but the visuals for this game are definitely the best of all of them that I've played so far.
Yeah, and to be honest, lad, I completely agree, but that reminds me, I've like missed a whole section where you're grieving in the morning and Amanda comes to, say hi to you, and honestly, there's not too much to add, just that like the room felt a bit weird, that you're just on a balcony and it felt very open. But also just the whole factor that, like, yeah, because I did the romantic thing with Amanda, it does lead to an instant rejection because she's like, look, you're grieving, you're not in the headspace for romance, so I'm going to park that to the side, which was kind of respectable, but, you know, a nice little scene nonetheless. But the only other thing I really want to comment on is I quite like Max's character. It wouldn't make sense for her just to be the same shy girl from the first game. She's clearly well traveled. She's done the photography thing. Now she's got this well established role, and it's like, it is Max at the key. It's the same voice actress. Hannah Tell came back, but Max is a bit more confident, a bit more quirkier, and it is really nice to see. So I think, you know, they did the correct decision on that, you know, front of like changing her character and bringing her out her shell a bit more.
But you literally mentioned there about, like, you picked the romantic angle or the date thing, and that is considered to be a main choice in episode 1. And by the end of the episode, it's then quickly wrapped up that there's going to be, you know, no particular romance, or that she sees you as like a friend at this point. How do you feel about that from like a choice design perspective? Is that disappointing?
Maybe. I mean, it's tough to say. I've not played the rest of the game, so I don't really know the impact of it long term. But yeah, like if nothing comes of that, it is a bit like, well, what was that? Was that just a big choice fill for episode 1? So yeah, just to wrap things up, lad. Thank you very much, everyone who has joined our first analysis series for Double Exposure. Please let us know what your choices were in the comments, which characters you liked the most, and if there's anything we missed that you'd like to discuss with us. But also, please refrain from putting any spoilers in. A lot of people are still playing the game. I'm still playing the game. So don't, like, reveal anything that, you know, people might not have discovered yet. But if you enjoyed this one and want to look back, please look at our other Life is Strange videos. We have a playlist for it. We've done an analysis for the first game. And we've done playthroughs for the first game as well as Before the Storm. So yeah, be sure to check those out. Well, thank you very much for joining. We will see you guys next week for episode 2, Penumbra.
Catch you later.